With a frown of annoyance, Conor pulled the bag forward and unzipped it. "A Walther," he said, poking a finger among the parts in the bag. "Why not a Colt 1911? Give me a real challenge." "I only wish I could turn out the lights," Sedgwick said in a soft undertone. "Shall I time you?" "I assume that's the point, isn't it? And if it's a show you want, let's have the full treatment." "All right." Conor rapped a knuckle on the table in front of the young man and pointed to the scarf around his neck. "Let me have that for a minute." He wrapped the scarf twice around his head, covering his eyes, and knotted it in the back. Then he carefully tipped the parts of the stripped-down Walter semi-automatic out of the bag and onto the table. He assembled it quickly by touch, and when he had hammered the loaded magazine into place and placed the gun on the table, he removed the scarf and threw it back across to the young man, who fumbled with it clumsily. 9 seconds. I'm impressed, Sedgwick purred with a mocking grin. An instant later, the blonde agent's face was pressed against the table, and a small trickle of blood was seeping over his lip where the point of impact had forced it against his teeth. With lightning speed, Conor had seized his hair and snapped his head down, and then, still holding him, he had snatched up the gun and come around to the other side of the booth. He slammed in against him, pressing him up against the nameless companion, who in turn was pinned against the wall. "And how about this?" he asked with icy calm, thrusting the barrel of the gun against his controlling officer's ear. "Pretty good trick too, right? How many points do I score for this one, boss?" "Perfect 10, Sedgwick said, his voice muffled by the table. "Then if you're satisfied, maybe we can knock off the caustic commentary and horseshit games from now on, right? I haven't known you more than a day, and you're already on my last nerve." Sedgwick made a strangled, inaudible comment, and his shoulders began shaking with silent laughter. Conor gave him another irritated shove, and the young man against the wall yelped in alarm. Who the hell is this guy, anyway? He released his hold on the back of Sedgwick's neck and dropped the gun back onto the table. The agent sat up slowly, putting his fingers to his lip. "Don't shoot him. I brought him here to meet you, after all. His name is Raj. He works for your brother." Conor swiveled around the table, taking his seat again, and looked at the long, thin face with greater interest. Raj watched him nervously and shifted away from the wall. Conor opened his mouth, mentally formulating the words to the question in Hindi, but then remembered himself and stopped, even before he saw Sedgwick's hand flash across the table in a gesture of warning. He was supposed to be a tour operator, investigating new trekking tours. He wasn't supposed to know anyone named Thomas McBride. "Does he know where my brother is?" He addressed the question in English instead to Sedgwick, who shook his head. "Nobody does. I think your brother got spooked. Frank told you about the agent MI6 sent over last year to flush him out?" Conor nodded. "The guy was supposed to find him, with my help, and offer him an immunity deal in exchange for cooperation. London is after the ringleader, the Wizard. Well, their agent managed to find me at the airport, but in every other respect he was a train wreck. Half the time he was drunk, and the rest of the time he was careening around town interviewing the club owners and bartenders and making no secret about who he was looking for. He blew his own cover and nearly blew mine as well, and they called me a security risk." Grimacing in disgust, Sedgwick drained his glass and signaled for another round. "Thomas and I used to cross paths occasionally, but he went to ground once that fathead showed up, and I haven't seen him in Mumbai since the beginning of July.